The Chesapeake Bay is the largest estuary in the United States and the third largest in the world, with over 18 trillion gallons of water. According to the Chesapeake Bay program, the bay also supports more than 3,600 species of plants and animals, and more than 18 million people live in the watershed, with another 150,000 coming each year. However, our actions have been hurting the bay, specifically its habitats. We sat down with Dave Nemazie, a marine scientist and the chief of staff at the University of Maryland Center for Environmental Sciences, to talk about his work and how he has been helping to counteract habitat degradation.
What I really work on is how could we grapple with the big problems of pollution in our coastal waters in a way that science is informing government and it's informing stakeholders, and government is relying on stakeholders to also understand what they're capable of doing. The major things that were done, first and foremost, was that we've upgraded our wastewater treatment plants, where they're some of the best in the world that are here in this area. We've managed to reduce the amount of nutrients coming from the agricultural community, largely from working with farmers directly on ways to either keep it on the land or to apply it at the right time or the best time. And so those nutrients would stay on the land and help their crops. We've planted a lot of buffers. We have very strong wetland laws in this region. And we're trying to preserve trees and other things wherever we can, however we can. So all those kind of add up to a better bay.
Mr. Nemazie also explained how too many nutrients in the bay can cause the underwater grasses to die, and that algae can grow and block sunlight from reaching sea plants. These grasses and plants provide shelter for many organisms, and habitats are also being taken away from the organisms that live there. We also discussed some specific species affected by habitat degradation. Of course, all organisms are impacted in some way, but Mr. Nemazie focused on the ones most affected.
One group I would think of are what we call benthic organisms. So those are organisms, benthic organisms are organisms that live on the bottom, in the benthos region. And those animals have been drastically changed. And so what lives in the bottom?
As citizens of the Chesapeake Bay area, we can also do our own part to help.
1, read about it, learn about it. It's really important. 2, where you think you or your family or your community can make a difference, think about how you could do it. So there's a lot of different things that we could be doing, but are impractical as humans, or very challenging for humans to do. So what's practical? What are the small things that could be done? One of them is combined trips and driving, as opposed to, let's say, driving to work, driving home, driving to the store. Maybe they could try to figure it out where they just drive to the store right from work instead of going home first, if they're able to figure out their timing that way. That reduces the number of vehicle miles. That's really important. It reduces traffic, it reduces air pollution. Within that air pollution or pollutants that impact the bay. Another thing that you guys can do, and that we could all do probably, is take shorter showers. You know, if you could just kind of do quick showers, 2-minute, 3-minute showers, you reduce the amount of water that you use, and that means that's less water that's going into a waste stream that has to be treated before it comes out the other side. So those are a couple things that would not only be good for being stewards of the Chesapeake, but would also be good at reducing the potential for the impacts of climate change. So to make clean water that comes out of the pipes at our home, there's a lot of energy that goes into that. There's a lot of energy while we're driving around. So if we could reduce energy use, that's good for climate change, it's good for the bay, it's good for your electric bills or your gas bills. It's good, it's a win-win-win. Sometimes it's really hard to do that. But if everyone thinks about it a little bit more, there are ways.
The habitats of the bay are disappearing faster than ever, and it's our responsibility to stop that.
The Chesapeake Bay impacts all of us here in Montgomery County. What can you do to save the bay?